Hello, Paradise Panther artists. I am Mrs. Telfer, and I'm excited to be with you today to introduce you to our next artist from the Meet the Masters art program. His name is Joan Miro. He is a Spanish artist who was born in 1893. Juan believed that feelings were more important than making things look real, and that anything was possible in his art. So let's dive into Miro's imaginative, dreamlike world. Here we go, artists. I want you to think, have you ever been blindfolded before? Maybe some of you have played the game, Pin the Tail on the Donkey. If you have, then you know that since you can't use your eyes when you're blindfolded, you have to use something else. That's right, you would have to use your hands, your sense of touch. When our master artist, Joan Miro, was young, he had an art teacher who would blindfold him and put objects in his hands. He would feel the contours and shapes and then would draw what he had felt without having seen them. This was beneficial to Miro as an artist because it trained him to use his other senses, and it stimulated his imagination. Joan Miro's sense of touch proved extremely important throughout his career. His art, as you will see, did not rely on what he saw. More important to Miro were his emotions and his imagination. Let's meet Joan Miro at work on a painting. Miro was born in Spain. From his earliest years, Miro was good at drawing and spent a lot of time doing it with care. He disliked school, but happily there was a drawing class, and he worked very hard there. His first paintings were colorful and very realistic. He painted a vase of flowers, a fish, an umbrella, and even a foot. After school, Juan would roam through the liveliest streets of Barcelona, Spain. He would spend hours happily gazing at the strange sights that he found around town, in the buildings and the costumes of street performers. He was always drawn and fascinated by unusual things. Miro attended art schools for 3 years and made rapid progress trying new things while he was there. I want you to look carefully at Miro and try to guess what kind of man he was. If you think he was a loud man, go ahead and show your teacher a thumbs up. If you think he was a quiet man, go ahead and show your teacher a thumbs down. Thank you. Go ahead and put your hands down now and listen to find out if you were right. Miro would start working in his studio early in the day and would work all day deep in thought and in total silence. So he was a quiet man. That's right. When Juan finished a painting, he sat down in his rocking chair in front of the painting and stared at it. When Miro left Spain to live in Paris, France, he was very poor and could only afford a very small, dilapidated house surrounded by trash. He also spent any money he had on art supplies, and he could only afford a good lunch once a week. The few things he owned in his studio were a frying pan, a sofa, and a chair. His place was so small that he literally had to crawl under his many canvases just to get to the other side of the room. He was also extremely neat and clean. He numbered all his paintbrushes as he lined them up. He even wrote out a schedule for himself of when he would do his chores and when he would paint. Go ahead and think in your head. Do you think you could function well in this type of situation? Maybe, maybe not. But the cramped, poor conditions never affected Miro's quality or quantity of his work while he lived there. But he had a dream during those years. Let's listen to what his dream was.
My dream, if and when I can manage to settle down somewhere, is to have a really big studio. Not for reasons of lighting, these things don't bother me, but just to have enough space, room for lots of canvases. For the more I work, the more I want to work. I'd like to try my hand at sculpture, pottery, engraving, and printing.
What was Miro's dream? Go ahead and raise your hand and your teacher will call on you. Yes, Miro's dream was to have a large studio and to try other kinds of art. Today, we will find out if he was successful enough during his lifetime to realize that dream as we follow his career and his later life. You've learned something about Miro's personality and his early life, but what will his paintings look like? Will they be quiet, neat pictures? Let's take a look. In all of his artwork, Miro takes us to another world. It is a world of dreams, fantasy, and imagination. In Miro's world, anything is possible. Even a strange animal with a semi-human head, wailing helplessly to something in the sky. Look at the floating ladder. I'm wondering, is that a way to get up there? It is another world, and this style of art is called Surrealism. Many times it seems like a mixed up dream. Even the word itself can sound eerie and strange. Listen to me say it again in an eerie voice, and then you will try it. Surrealism. Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead and say it with me in an eerie voice. Ready, set, go. Surrealism. Good job. That will help you remember the word and its style. Since surrealism can seem dreamlike, I want you to pretend you have just awakened and you know you have been dreaming. You lay there trying to remember bits and pieces of your dream to fit it together like a puzzle. The things you remember seeing are string-like black lines, a bug-like creature, and a big eye looking at you. And everything is just floating around in space. How would it fit all together? It seems all mixed up and crazy. As you continue to let your memory and your imagination run wild, put the puzzle together to form a picture in your mind. And let's see if your imaginary dreamlike picture looks anything like a painting I'm about to show you that was painted by Joan Miro. I bet your imaginary dream picture wasn't anything like this painting. Joan Miro was always surprising his friends with his ideas. His imagination made him a magician who could change whatever he saw in real life. I want you to see if anything looks like an eye in this painting. Miro many times puts eyes in his paintings like he did here. Using your great imaginations, what else do you see? Go ahead and pause the video so your teacher can call on you if you have a quiet hand raised. Yes, we can see things like a bug, earphones, string, animals. But guess what? There are no wrong answers here. The fun thing about Miro's kind of art is that everyone sees something different. Now, let's let your imaginations take off again like Miro's. He got the idea for this next painting from nighttime, music, and the stars. Miro sat for hours in the dim light of a beautiful grand church and listened to the organ music, lost in his dreams. And this is what he painted. Again, this painting is probably nothing like what you expected. But we can see some signs that it is nighttime here. We can see the black splotches in the background, the star and moon shapes, and the cats that would come out at night. Notice how the many thin black lines connect and weave like a spider web. You can see the lines outline shapes. They almost look like a lion, a bug, a snake, or antenna. Also, this painting gives you the feeling of movement with its curved lines, rounded shapes, and lines connecting shapes. Miro didn't use many colors, but how many eyes can you find? Go ahead and raise your hand if you see an eye in this painting, and pause the video while your teacher calls on you. Well done! There are many different answers for the number of eyes that you see, because everyone sees something different in Miro's surrealist artwork. And eyes are included in many of his paintings. Notice how Miro uses colors whenever the shapes overlap. There are overlapping colors in a shape that could either be a snake or a bird. I want you to decide how this painting makes you feel. Take a minute and absorb the mood of this painting, titled Still Life with Old Shoe. Some of you might describe the overall feeling it gives you as depressing, warlike, burning, or confusing. When Miro painted this in 1937, he was deeply concerned with the suffering of the common people in his country of Spain. Some items in this painting that would fit with the common farm people are an apple, a loaf of bread, a bottle of wine, an old shoe, and a pitchfork. He put it all together with powerful colors. A word to describe these colors, especially the combination of colors, might be evil or dangerous, frightening, strong, or threatening. Notice what he does with each of these common objects we mentioned: the apple, the loaf of bread, and the bottle of wine, and the old shoe. I will describe how he adds the drama, and I want you to pick out which object I'm talking about. But don't blurt out. Just think of the answer in your head. Here we go. Which item is pierced by the prongs of a fork, which attack like an arm from the sky? What is it? It's an apple. You can see me circling the apple right now. Next, which item has tattered wrappings, is misshaped, and blackened as if by fire? What is it? It's a bottle of wine. Notice how I circle the bottle of wine right now. Next, which item is dry, moldy, and unappetizing? What is it? It's a loaf of bread. Here is the loaf of bread. And lastly, which item is weathered, dirty, and about to fall apart? What is it? It's an old shoe. Let's find out why Miro paints such a dismal, depressing picture of the life of the farm people in Spain. A cruel dictator was trying to take over the government of Spain when Miro painted this. He felt very badly about what was happening to his peaceful country and to its poor people who were being attacked. And his feelings showed up in this next still life painting. Let's go to another painting showing life of the common people on a farm. Let's see if it will be similar or very different. I am thinking Miro was having some very strange dreams when he painted this. Let's look for some of his Surrealism style objects. Go ahead and search with your eyes from wherever you are sitting and see if you can spy some of these objects in this painting. But please don't blurt out. Just think in your mind if you can find them. Okay, see if you can spy a porcupine dog. Okay, watch as I circle the porcupine dog. Here it is. Next, see if you can find the colors of the French flag. Find the colors red, white, and blue. Here they are. We see the colors of the flag here and here. Now, see if you can find when day turns into night. We can see the yellow for the sky for daytime on this side of the painting. Then it turns into a dark sky on this side for nighttime. So we are going from day to night. Next, can you find a unicorn lizard? Here, we can see a unicorn lizard on the bottom of the painting. Next, can you find an object that can both hear and see? Look at this tree. This tree has an eye that can see and an ear that can hear. So it can both see and hear. And lastly, can you find an ear that's also a snail? Here it is. We have an ear and a snail. Well done. This painting is different than the last one we looked at. It also has a different mood. It feels dangerous or like it's from another planet. Some of it could be scary, or some of it is funny, or even weird. We've seen varying moods from Miro's paintings. The moods can be funny, happy, evil, or even eerie. Here, Miro's world of imagination has become supreme. He has changed everything from the ordinary to the abstract, where nothing looks like the real thing. Miro has changed life on a farm with his feelings and imagination into a strange land known only to him. Miro said, "My landscapes have nothing to do with reality." Look carefully at this painting and see if you can discover where Miro might have had an accident and dripped some paint on his canvas. Well, that's exactly what happened. But Miro planned it that way. Listen to his words about starting a painting. "Never, never do I set to work on a canvas as it comes blank from the shop. I make accidents. A drip or a splotch of color. Any accident is good enough. I might start by wiping my dirty brushes on the canvas. Or I might let some drops of turpentine drop on it." The title of this painting is Red Sun, based on the prominent red oval in the middle of the painting. Looking at this painting, the thick black circle looks like he even could have painted it with his finger. Remember at the beginning when we discovered how Miro was led to develop his sense of imagination by being blindfolded? Then it won't be surprising for you to learn that he liked to paint without a brush. And he would sometimes use his fingers instead. Miro would squeeze oil paints directly from the paint tube onto his fingers and could paint an amazingly even line or a circle. Wow! Let's remember that Miro's dream was to have a large studio. You guessed earlier about whether that dream came true. Let's see if you were right. Let's listen to Miro as he describes his studio.
I finally had a large, beautiful studio built to my specifications, but I had a very hard time adjusting to working in such a perfect atmosphere. More than 2 years passed before I was able to live there comfortably, and nearly 3 years before I again was able to paint.
When Miro finished a painting, he sat in his rocking chair and stared at the painting. We can find his rocking chair toward the back of the room in this picture. In our minds, let's picture him here, sitting in his chair, silently examining his latest painting. In this photograph, we see Miro in his rocking chair, looking quiet and content. Great job listening and learning today, Paradise Panther artists. Miro let us have a peek at his special world of dreams and imagination, where anything is possible. Next, you will have a great time creating your surrealist art project with Mr. Tyler, as you let your imagination and dreams open up a whole new world to you. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.